Hi, my name is Brandon and welcome to my channel. This here lens was released in May of 2014. That is almost 7 years now. And you might be wondering, does it stand the test of time? Stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to give you the reasons why I'm going to continue to use this lens into 2021. Let's go. So I've had this lens for almost a year now, and it goes without saying, whenever I'm vlogging, this is a no-brainer when taking it with me anywhere. Editor Brandon here. I made a little mistake and didn't hit the record button on this last part, so the change of scene is going to be different. You'll see here in just a second. Alright, really big fail. When I came home to edit the video, I noticed that I actually forgot to press the record button on this little segment, so I just want to get this done for you guys real quick. Taking the hat off so there's some sunlight. And this is the 15mm kit lens. I want to show you guys what it looks like handheld. So I'm going to hold it up. And it is now fully extended on my arm. Is that any difference? We shall see. I mean, of course there's a difference because I already looked at the footage and been using it, but I just wanted to show you guys the difference it is compared to the Ket lens here. Of course, one of the only advantages this has over this is you have more focal range if you're needing and wanting to use that. Now, back to the regular video. So before I get into the photography side of things, let's do one more lens comparison. Over here. Alright, so I made a line. I just wanted to compare what it looks like on a still focal length. So this is 10mm, and I just want to put it side by side for you guys, not just taking it and putting it on, taking it off. So this is how wide it is at 10mm, and I'm just going to let it sit here so you guys can compare. Hope you guys are doing good today. Alright, switched over to the 15mm to 45 EFM kit lens. So this is what it looks like compared to that. It's not as wide, but still not too shabby if I'd say so myself. This is what it looks like compared to the 10mm wide angle lens. This is the kit lens that comes with the Canon M50. So, this camera for photography, let's talk more about that. So, for photography, it's alright, but I think the greatest strength of this lens is if you need to take pictures or video anywhere that's in a really small space, but you need to see more of everything. And I think the perfect fit for this is definitely any interior or real estate photography, but also at the same time, since your lowest aperture is 4.5, I really recommend if you were in any of that situation, because indoor lighting is not even great in the first place, definitely bring an on-site flash. Also, depending on the type of landscape photography, I could see this doing very well at that too, which I'll also be doing here in a few months, so be sure to follow me. Keep up with that. So, how is the image quality on this lens? As you can see, it's not the sharpest lens in the world. I can see it here on the viewfinder, and when I usually film, it's usually more of a creamy look. Definitely like you have a pro mist on there, but it also depends because in the situation you're in, such as us right now, it's having a hard time focusing on my face. This is one of its weaknesses that I also wanted to share with you guys. If you do not have a lens hood, it has a hard time focusing in broad daylight. Also, another cool thing I wanted to mention is that this lens actually has image stabilization built into the lens. Now, this is very helpful when you're vlogging because, you know, we can get a little moving going, and sometimes you'll need that to not get your viewers sick. Now I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like when I'm doing maybe some B-roll handheld shots with image stabilization on and with it off. Now I just want to put a little disclaimer. The image quality might be affected by the adapter, but I'm not 100% sure because I've adapted other lenses on there, like the 50mm lens, and it's still really sharp. So that might be a thing, because since there's little space between the lens and the sensor, I don't know though. So those of you that have the native EF-S mounts and use this lens, do you share the same issues as I do, or even have better image quality than shown on here? Let me know in the comments down below. Now on to the next test. Here is image stabilization on. Here's me walking. Image stabilization. Here's it facing me. And now, let's see what it looks like off. Not bad. Here's it handheld. To be honest, when I'm looking at it now, not having image stabilization on the lens actually looks a bit jittery. I don't know if you guys can see that. The rolling shutter is a little different. I don't know if it's just me. Let me know what you guys think. So of course, turning off image stabilization will create more movement. And though it looks more natural, it can be disorientating to watch, so leaving it on is probably best for your viewers when recording video. So before I get onto the price of this lens, there is a price that comes with getting this lens. Whether you're coming from an EFM or EF-S kit lens, this lens loses a whole stop of light compared to those two. The fastest that both kit lenses will go is 3.5, while this one is 4.5. Now you have to wonder, is it worth sacrificing the whole stop for the wide angle? That's up for you to answer. Also, remember to keep in mind, when it comes to the aperture, this is the lowest it'll go, and you won't really get that bokeh look you might be going for. If anything, this is the most you'll get, but you have to be really, really, really close up like this. And at that point, you might as well just zoom in like this, and you can get that look that way. But why would you do that if you have a wide angle lens? So, case in point, this lens will not work that well in low light. I've used it in those situations, and bumping up the ISO that high does not look good. But first and foremost, this is a crop sensor lens made for crop sensor cameras. So at the same time, you can't really expect low light to perform that well. I just wanted to give you guys all the information that I know of this lens and the pros and cons, so you guys know if you're shopping for one, you can compare them to other lenses and choose the best fit for you. Okay. I know you guys been waiting for this part. So the price. For the price, it's pretty rad. I got this lens used for around $200, and to be honest, that's not that bad for what it can do and what it offers. Okay, remember how earlier I mentioned the 10mm focal length, but in actuality it's 16mm focal length? What I mean by this is, I'll tell you more about it once I get home. I'm hungry and I need to go get some groceries. So let's go. Now, as we wait for me to return home, this is a perfect time for those wanting to know the specs. I'll leave them up on the screen for those wanting to see. By the way, all the select B-roll you see on here was shot on the 10mm lens. Alrighty, so now that we're back home, let's talk more about this lens. especially when I mentioned earlier 10 millimeter, but actually 16 millimeter. What do you mean by that, Brandon? This is made for an ASP-C sensor on the older Canon cameras, I believe the SLR systems. I have a mirrorless, but this still works because I use an adapter on it. So let's say that this is a full frame sensor we're using now. And this area, I'll put a square. That is the crop factor that the M50 currently has. So if I was using a different lens on it, it wouldn't quite exactly be that focal length. Now, let me explain. So if we were to use the 10 millimeter on here, on this camera, yes, this is a 10 millimeter lens, but it won't quite look like it on a full frame sensor. So depending on the camera you have, look up your camera body and the crop factor of it. In this case, this is the Canon M50 and it has a crop factor of 1.6. So if we stick this 10 millimeter on there, it'll actually be 16 millimeters. And how so? You multiply that 10 millimeter by 1.6, or your crop factor, and that is the full frame equivalent of that focal length shown on your camera. Does that make sense? I really hope so. But then at the same time, some of you might not really care and you're just like, hey, Brandon, is it wide or is it not? And that's fine too, but just thought I'd throw that in there. Let's wrap this review up. What did I think of the lens overall, and what score would I give it? Yes, the low light performance isn't that great. It's an older lens, and it's not as sharp as your newer ones, such as this. But for the price, it's actually very valuable in my opinion for the price range of those that would own a crop sensor camera. Now, I know the downsides is the image quality isn't as sharp as your newer lenses. It's made for crop sensor cameras. And what that means is if you were to get this lens, you wouldn't be able to put it on your full frame bodies. I mean, you could, but you'd have vignetting. And even if you did, you'd want to zoom in so you don't get that vignetting effect, but then you'd lose that 10 millimeter look you may be looking for. So this is limited to your crop sensor cameras only. If you're looking to stay on this system, it's not a big deal at all. But just keep in mind, if you are using the EFM mount, you need to use an EF-S to an EFM adapter. You're going to need that, or else this lens is not going to fit on your camera. But regardless, the super wide focal length that everyone's looking for is definitely in this lens. After taking all things into consideration, I'd actually rate this an 8 out of 10. I mean, you're getting a huge amount of value just for something like this. Sure, it's a little heavier than its EFM counterparts, but it's not that bad, and you get that Casey Neistat vlogger look that you really might be looking for, or just need that extra space in your shots. This works just fine for just $200. That is not bad at all. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna raise it to 8.5 out of 10. It could have been perfect, but as you know, I have the gripe with the f-stop and the low light, but you can't complain too much just for $200, right? All right, and that'll wrap up today's review. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like. It'll mean a lot. This video was just made because I remember I made a video earlier on the EF-S 10 to 18 millimeter, but it really wasn't a review. It was just me buying a new lens and attaching it to the camera, and I vlogged with it. So I guess it technically wasn't wrong, but a lot of people didn't like it because they were probably expecting a review. So this was the video to make up for it. Also, if you are new here, I invite you to join my channel. If you're interested in any photography, videography, or just vlogs that I make, please hit that subscribe button. But only subscribe if you're actually going to watch some videos, because if you don't, I think that hurts my algorithm. So don't just press subscribe just because I told you to press subscribe. All right? But then I'm still grateful if you subscribe. And then you're like, I'm supporting him. What do I really want? Sometimes I don't even know. And again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Much love and bless. You guys honestly don't know how much I miss doing that. That was fun.